What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success. And if you don't know who I am, I run a Canadian clothing company called K-Bud Apparel that's doing 6 figures in sales. So I help clothing brand owners like you get really good results. And what I want to talk to you about in this video here is finding the bottleneck inside of your clothing brand. If you view your clothing brand as a bottle full of liquid, when you go to pour out that liquid, there's that bottleneck that's preventing everything from flowing smoothly. And I want to help you find out what that is inside of your own clothing brand that's preventing you from having a nice flow of sales coming in on a regular basis. And by the end of this video, you're really going to be able to locate what that is inside of your own brand. Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd. And if you need designs made for your clothing brand, I really recommend that you give them a shot. You post a project on there, amazing designers from all around the world will compete for your project. You choose the winner, then you get that design plus revisions. This is the best-selling hoodie on my website, and I got the design made through Design Crowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you where you can save up to $100 or simply use the discount code APPAREL when you post a project on Design Crowd. All right, let's find this godforsaken bottleneck inside of your clothing brand. And if you're sitting there saying, I don't have a bottleneck inside of my clothing brand's perfect. If you don't have a lot of sales coming in for your clothing brand on a regular basis, and if you're not able to make sales for your clothing brand relatively easily right now, then you definitely do have a bottleneck, and it's really important for you to loosen that bottleneck so that you can allow your business to start flowing and you can allow sales to come in because, most clothing brands have some sort of issue with one of these 3 main areas that I want to talk about to start out this video. And, this isn't just clothing brands, this is every single business, but we're going to apply it to clothing brands right now. So the first part is lead generation. Is your clothing brand actually getting in front of enough people on a regular basis to create enough leads to generate enough sales for your clothing brand, right? If your clothing brand only has 10 to 20 people visiting your website every day, you're not going to be getting 50 orders to your website. It's literally impossible. And so there has to be a certain level of lead generation in order for you to really loosen up that bottleneck and get the flow of sales that you're trying to get. The second part of your clothing brand that you could potentially have a bottleneck in is your ability to close. So your ability to actually make sales. Once you've gotten those leads, you've got enough people coming to your website and visiting your store. What's your website look like? Is it building enough trust? Is it building enough credibility to actually close those people into customers? And they need to really have the shoppable experience that they enjoy in order to be able to check out on your website. And so these 2 components, I really want you to think about this for your own clothing brand. Like really, really think about it. Do I have enough leads to actually be making enough sales that my clothing brand is thriving? And if I do, is my website converting these leads well enough to actually, get to that second stage where things are really flowing really well for me? And, your website should be converting between 1 to 5% of all of its visitors into customers. And so you can figure that out on your own to decide if your website is converting well enough all of the traffic that you're sending there. And if it's not, you might need to consider redesigning your website or restructuring your website so that it's converting your website traffic better. Or you might need to consider changing up the traffic that you're driving to your website. Maybe your website looks really good and the traffic that you're driving to your website just aren't the right people who would be interested in buying your products. So these are things that you definitely need to think about and figure out for your own clothing brand in order to really open it all up and start making some serious sales. And the third part of your clothing brand that you could potentially have a bottleneck in is your ability to get repeat customers. Even if you have a lot of leads and you're closing them into customers, your ability to keep those customers again and again will really allow you to thrive as a clothing brand. And it's really when you have solid lead generation, your ability to close is really good, and you have repeat customers, that you're going to have a really thriving clothing brand where your ability to make sales is fairly easily and things are flowing really well for you on a regular basis. That's when the bottleneck doesn't even exist and you've got your bottle that's filled with liquid and it's basically just being dumped out. There's that really nice flow happening. Whereas with most clothing brands, it's one or more of these areas that's really holding them back from getting their clothing brand to the next level. And so, with lead generation, let's talk about each of these, individually here. With lead generation, there's many solutions to this, right? You can take it into your own hands to, say, try and up the amount of people that you're engaging with on a regular basis, maybe maybe improve your social media strategy so that, you know, your posts are seeing more people and more people are finding out about your website that way. Or you can take it in your own hands and use paid advertising to generate more leads and get more traffic to your website. There are a whole bunch of different ways to do it, but what you need to realize is that if your clothing brand isn't getting enough traffic to your website right now, this is a problem that needs to be solved. And you have to be aggressive about solving this. And so if you're finding that the regular social media stuff that you're doing where you're just engaging with people and where you're just posting on social media isn't working for you, then maybe it's time to invest in some paid advertising to drive some traffic to your website and see how that does. And if that's not working for you, then maybe it's an issue with your website or with your brand concept in general. And right now we're basically just going deep into figuring all of this out and to really try and diagnose the problem. And this is the stuff that you want to be thinking about on a regular basis. And the second one, you know, your ability to close, a lot of this has to do with just your brand as a whole. You know, how's your brand coming across? Is your brand concept connecting with people? The better your brand concept's connecting with people, the more credibility that your brand has, the better you're going to be able to sell, and just how it'll just be way easier to sell. But then on top of that, you know, even if you have a really good brand concept and even if you're connecting with people really well, if your website's not reaching a certain standard, you're going to have a really hard time selling to people. So all of the components of your clothing brand need to be working harmoniously together in order for you to really get those results coming in on a regular basis. And with repeat customers, you know, if you're selling a lot and you find that a lot of the people that you're selling to aren't coming back, then maybe think about throwing more promo items into your boxes and giving things out for free, or, you know, maybe sending your pre-existing customers some promo codes that are special just for them to thank them for already being customers and things like that. That will really help you get repeat customers. But the gist of this video here is to really get you thinking about how your clothing brand is performing when it comes to your lead generation, your ability to actually get people to find out about your clothing brand who are the right people on a daily basis in enough numbers that you'd actually be able to sell to them. Closing, getting enough people to actually buy who are coming to your website because your website looks good enough and because it's connecting to your audience in the right way. And then the third part is getting your repeat customers, you know, where people who have bought before want to come back and buy all of your new products that you're coming out with. When all of this is working for you, you're going to notice that things just become a whole lot easier, and you can really start to simplify the whole process at the end of the day, from lead generation to close to repeat customers, and everything starts to work a lot smoother for you. So I really hope that sparked some ideas for you and got you thinking about your own clothing brand and how you can improve it moving forward. I hope this video really helped you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Drop your brand down there as well. I like to check out the brands that are watching. And if you haven't already, check out my free clothing brand marketing masterclass. All you have to do to get access is go to apparelsuccess.com/masterclass, and you can watch the whole thing for free. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group for Apparel Success. There's a link in the description. Follow that link, join us in the group, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.